Hey, what up people, it's me, Shiny Forehead Man here, and we talk about interesting card designs today. So, in my made-up series of I pick one card from each expansion, I thought, what if we take a look at interesting designs, not just good design or bad design or broken stuff, but just interesting design that probably does not see any play. Hearthstone has like 2,700 cards, and why would you play stuff that is not broken? So I thought I make it my mission to go into my collection manager, look at 2,700 cards and pick one from each expansion that I will represent as the most interesting design in the entire set. In case you disagree with anything I say, I hate you. And don't forget, opinions might differ. So if you think there's a better, interesting design card from a certain set I didn't choose, well, we have a comment section so you can let me know. Anyways, let's just start. Shadow Form. That's my first pick. I did not know this one is in the Hall of Fame. I might have missed that. So apparently during the last rotation a couple months ago, this got Hall of Famed, and I don't understand why. Maybe people didn't like it that every single hero became an emo. There are only a couple cards, for example there is Cobalt and there is like animated armor, that change how your hero portrait looks like, with an overlay and stuff. And Shadow Form makes it really dark and purple. And what does look really sick is what I call the Ultimate Form Priest. What you do in there is you play either Jiraxis or Major Domo, and you play Amara to go to 40 health, and then you use a weapon, and you use Shadow Form, and a bunch of other effects, just look as fancy as possible. That's why I like Shadow Form. Next we get to Reincarnate, and that is for one specific reason. And there was a really cool clip that I saw once, as well as some riddles here and there, in which you have to play Reincarnate on your Flame Tongue Totem after initially attacking with some of the minions, because it always gets resummoned to the far right, and then buffs another minion maybe. That might have been so impactful on me that I still remember that after 5 years, and led me to putting this card right there. Then for GVG, I really like Anima Golem. It's a 6 mana 9/9, which is pretty nice. The effect is so unique and so bad that I had to put it on this list. A lot of epic cards, actually all the epic cards in the entire game of Hearthstone, they all have interesting effects and are either broken or complete garbage. So this list might be full of epics. My name is Solem, I see a golem, I see, I pick, I say this might very likely just die. For Blackrock, I picked Revenge because back then when you used to play Warrior and you faced anyone who played aggressive, they had to think about, do they attack for like 3 more damage and put you down to like 10 health? Or do they leave you at 13 and don't get cleared because of Revenge? So instead of dealing 1 damage AoE for 2 mana, you deal 3 damage. So you have like a Dustbreaker effect, but only if your health is 12 or less, so if your opponent plays too aggressive, they get punished for it. And that is IMHO, the best card in that set for the interesting, design. You know what else is good design? Those 2 cards actually. Sideshow Spell Eater as well as Darkspeaker. Now both cards see absolutely no play. And fun fact, Darkspeaker is one of the least played cards in the entire game. But you can give the stats of this minion to a different minion. I think that's a sick effect. Also, the card looks beautiful. It's great art and golden, fantastic looking. Now why did I also pick Sideshow and pretty much only pick Sideshow here? If you play Grizzled Wizard and Sideshow Spell Eater, which are like 4 years apart from each release, you can give your opponent your hero power, which we did with the Amazing Reno, which is a lot of fun to do. Fun fact, this does not work in Adventures. I tried that. I crafted it for that. Doesn't work. Next, as mentioned earlier when we talked about Shadow Form, Animated Armor. And that is for the effect that you only take 1 damage at a time, and your hero has this overlay effect, which looks pretty cool. And because there's not enough customization in the game, having like a hero portrait customization effect, if you think about it, that's kinda interesting. Also, your opponent has to kill this if they smog. For Wizards of the Old Gods, I picked Zeril because there are like 5 different Toxin cards that are unique to this minion. And we talked about the best meme cards from each expansion. I talked about Gabble Makatok, who is the only minion that can summon those inventions. Zeril is the only minion that gives you those toxins. And they never really made another minion that does give you that, so cool design. Next is Ivory Knight. I think I once made a video about the best design cards and I put Ivory Knight in there. But for interesting design, this also goes in there. You tell your opponent pretty much what spell you might have picked. Maybe you just like chess pieces. Ivory Knight used to see play during the Murloc era and gave you a 10 mana spell to win the game. Next is Shaku. Shaku is so great because he has stealth, meaning he does not die the moment you play him. And having actual value from a minion that generates value is like value. That's valueception. And maybe he survives the turn. Maybe the random card you get is good. Maybe you remember back in Gadget Zen where you used to play that and it was actually a good deck. I miss Shaku, mate. For Ngoro we have Curious Glimmerroot. We also now have this thingy, this tentacle thing, which is a lot less fun. But Glimmerroot is really fun, because usually the choice is obvious, but sometimes it isn't. It's just interesting to see that you have to guess what your opponent plays, because maybe you're not familiar with the game or the archetype your opponent might play. and what deck he pilots, so they make the wrong decision and then you learn. Then we get the second least used keyword in the entire game. Maybe you can guess what the least used is. Secretly. Secretly is actually a keyword in the game. There are 3 cards with that. Fate Spinner, which was the original Secretly effect. Then there is Dragon Arc, which hatches into a dragon that you pick secretly. And now there's Jandis. Minion takes damage, it dies. But you pick it secretly. Next you got Windshield Stormcaller. You can summon Alakir. You can play Avatar Shaman. With the new card right here, you can actually make that somewhat viable. I just think it's really sick that after you summon all your 4 basic totems, which then means your hero power is useless, it doesn't do anything, you can actually get a benefit from that. For the longest time, Shaman didn't do anything with that, so having the ability to summon Alakir, pretty cool. Then this is kind of a strange pick. I picked Nightmare Amalgam, not because of the effect, but because of the tribe, I guess. The tribe is just all. It's like you want to make soup and you just put in everything. And it somehow turns out well. Because Amalgam was the first version of that before we had this minion there, which summons 2 of them. I thought it deserves a spot for interesting design. Because then you can put Ziliacs and magnetic stuff onto that. You can just kill it. I wonder what happens if they introduce something like a new tribe in like a year or so. And they forget about Amalgam. And then it's like Whispering and Wild. And that makes no sense. Next you got Pogo Hopper. Why? Because you can just bounce Pogos over and over. And it's not good. We will play that deck. Mark my words, we will play that deck again this expansion. I encountered exactly 1 Pogo Hopper rogue this year when I played Steel Priest. I stole their 1919 Pogo Hopper and then I killed them. It was fun. And for Rastakan, the worst expansion ever made. Mojo Master Zihi. Why? Your opponent would like to play a combo? No, he doesn't. Your opponent wants to have fun? No, he doesn't. You would like to go back to 6 mana or 5 mana? Yes, you can. There isn't really much that sets your mana crystals. For example, if you play Astral Communion, you get set to 10 mana. If you play Zihi, you get set to 5. And that's somewhat of a middle ground. So, next to the basic set, I picked Totemic Might because for the longest time, before even Shaman and even Totem Shaman became a thing, Totemic Might was just garbage. So you played this and like Wicked Witch Doctor, for example, or you just played it to make Totem Shaman work, which never worked. Now the card is kind of broken because, you know, you have Totem Synergy. For the classic set, and I hope all of you expected that, Lord Jaraxxus, the original, replace your hero with a different hero. Sick card, great design, we all like the Erudite Lord, and actually my second ever legendary. At least he is balanced. And Sacrificial Pact finally got nerfed, so Zephyrus does not just instantly kill him. For Rise of Shadows, I picked Crystal Song Portal. I'm not sure, but I think the reason was, when I picked that, if you have a downside of not having any minion in your hand, you can get 3. If you do happen to have 1, you only get 1. So it's like Raven Idol for 2 mana, with the upside of being like Font of Power. I wasn't really sure about this pick. Now we get a board clear, and that's Earthquake. I just think it's cool that a board clear has 2 stages, so if you play against like a card to defender, you actually clear both stages. It counters reborn minions. And that's great because most board clears just destroy everything and then leave all the minions that spawn due to death riddles on the field. So it's not even a board clear, it's more like a we clear the first stage and then we die. Next is Lightforged Zealot, and that's only because like Libram and Pure Stuff became an archetype for Paladin. And it's cool to see because you have like Discard Warlock specifically for Warlock, no other class, and you have like Lightforged and Libram and Pure only for Paladin, and that helps with that. Then I picked Shadow Sculptor for Rogue because you could play technically like 10 cards a turn and then draw 10 and then do more things. And if you play something like a Pillager OTK, this one helps a lot. And I'm not sure what I should pick from Galakon's Awakening, it's not that interesting. For the Initiate set in Demon Hunter, everything is pretty boring, so I picked Wrathspike Brute because at least the opponent has to think about how he trades into the minion. For the second last card, I picked Moark Artificer because this into Lifesteal means you heal for a lot, this into a board claim means the board is gone, and this into a stupid combo that we once played at the beginning of the last expansion means you have lethal, and that's fun. Now for this expansion, Mindrender Lucia. Maybe it's not interesting design, it's just straight up broken and complete BS, but your opponent plays a combo deck and you just ruin that. Your opponent saves certain cards in their hand. You just take them, you just throw them away. I think this is hilarious. And really annoying. Now to be fair, this expansion, after like a year and a half, they have good and interesting designed cards. And you might as well also picture as Transfer Student, because, you know, different board, different effect. But I thought maybe giving a legendary a chance on this list might make, I don't know, one of you guys happy. And that is my list of interesting designed cards, 1 per expansion. Now if you do disagree with any of my choices, please leave a comment down below about your favorite fruit and your favorite pie. We stream live on twitch.tv/Solem. Maybe you want to stop by at some point. Maybe you want to join the Discord. You're interested in the top decks at the moment. Maybe you want to see other people play Hearthstone. Well, Discord is our place. Also, we shall get that verified soon because they updated the partner application thingies. Thanks so much for watching. Consider subscribing because more than half of you aren't. Leave a like and take care.